The arrive lit was a quiet evening in the small town of Fairhill. The sky was painted orange and purple. Birds were flying back to their nests. People were inside their homes, eating dinner, watching TV, or getting ready for bed. On the edge of town, a farmer named Jack Moore lived with his 17-year-old daughter, Mia. Their house was old but strong. It stood next to wide fields and a thick, dark forest. Mia was in the kitchen, helping her father wash the dishes. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound. Boom! The ground shook. The windows rattled. They looked at each other. What was that? Mia asked. Jack grabbed his flashlight. "Stay here," he said. "I'll check outside." But Mia didn't listen. She followed him. The sound had come from the forest. There was a light soft blue and moving. They walked slowly toward it. Leaves crunched under their feet. The air smelled like burned metal. Then they saw it. A small, round object like a pod was lying between the trees. It was half buried in the dirt. Smoke rose from it, and lights blinked on its surface. Jack took a step back. "What is this?" he whispered. Before Mia could answer, they heard voices, soft, gentle voices, from behind the trees. 3 girls walked out. They looked like humans, but something was different. Their skin had a light glow. Their eyes were too big, too shiny. Their hair floated, even though there was no wind. They wore simple clothes made of silver fabric. One of them stepped forward. She spoke in a soft, clear voice. "Please, don't be afraid. We are not here to hurt you." Jack raised his flashlight. "Who are you?" The girl placed her hand on her chest. "We are sisters. We are lost. Our home is far, far away." "We'll be good girls," said another sister. Her voice sounded almost like music. "We'll work. We'll cook. We'll help. Please, just let us in." Mia felt something strange. In her chest, pity and curiosity. Jack frowned. "What do you mean, let you in?" "Into what? Your home," the third sister said. Her smile was too perfect. "Just for a short time. We need safety. We are cold." Jack hesitated. He looked at Mia. "They look harmless," she said softly. Jack wasn't sure. But it was late, and the girls didn't seem dangerous. "Fine," he said. "You can stay in the barn for tonight, but no funny business. You understand?" The sisters nodded in perfect sync. "Yes, thank you. Thank you." Back at the house, Mia brought them some blankets and water. The sisters sat close together in the barn, smiling. "My name is Mia," she said. "What are your names?" The oldest sister said, "I am Alira. This is Vina. And this is little Soul." Soul waved and giggled. They talked for a while. The sisters said they came from a broken world. Their ship crashed. They didn't want war or trouble, just a place to stay. Mia asked, "Are you human?" Alira smiled. "Almost." Later that night, Mia couldn't sleep. Something didn't feel right. She looked out the window. She saw the barn, and she saw a light, a soft glow coming from the cracks in the wood. Mia put on her jacket and went outside. She moved closer to the barn. Carefully, she peeked through a small hole in the wall. Her eyes went wide. The sisters were standing in a triangle. Their hands were glowing, touching each other. Symbols floated in the air. Strange sounds filled the room like whispers, but not in English. Then, suddenly, Soul opened her mouth wide, wider than a human should. She laughed in a high, echoing sound. Mia gasped and stepped back. The laughter stopped. The sisters looked toward the wall. Mia ran back to the house, heart beating fast. The next morning, everything seemed normal. The sisters were cooking breakfast. They smiled, laughed, and acted sweet. Jack seemed relaxed. Too relaxed. "See?" he told Mia. they're just girls. They're helping already." Mia nodded slowly, but her eyes stayed on Elira. The alien girl smiled back. Too perfect. Too calm, something was not right. Mia decided she would watch them. Closely, she didn't trust their smiles, and in her mind, the echo of last night's whispers stayed clear. "Let us in, let us in." Asterisk, at exactly 3:03 a.m., all the cows in Jack Moore's barn stood up at the same time. They didn't moo. They didn't move. They just stood. Silent, staring at the wall. Something was watching them, and in the corner of the barn. The three alien sisters were already awake. They weren't sleeping. They never slept. The next morning, Mia woke up feeling tired. She had strange dreams. In one of them, Soul had whispered something into her ear, but when she awoke, she couldn't remember what. In the kitchen, she found her dad humming. He was cooking eggs, something he hadn't done in months. "You're up early," Mia said. Jack smiled. "I feel good today." Slept like a baby. That was odd. Jack usually had back pain and hated mornings. Mia looked out the window. The sisters were already in the garden, planting seeds, cleaning tools, and feeding the animals. Soul waved at her like a happy child. "They're good girls," Jack said. "Hard workers. We should let them stay longer." Mia blinked. "But we don't even know them." Jack didn't respond. He just smiled. Too wide. Like the smile wasn't his. As days passed, the sisters became part of the house. Elira helped with fixing fences. Vina was amazing at cooking. She used spices no one could name. Soul followed Mia everywhere, like a little shadow. The townspeople began to notice. Old Mrs. Callie from the next farm said, "Those new girls. Sweetest things I've ever seen." Even the grumpy postman said, "They helped me with my truck." Like magic, everyone loved them. Everyone, except the animals. Dogs barked when the sisters came close. Cats ran away. Birds fell silent. And Mia started feeling like a guest in her own house. One night, Mia couldn't sleep again. She walked outside with a flashlight and found Soul standing in the cornfield, done alone, staring at the stars. "Soul?" Mia asked. "What are you doing?" Soul didn't turn. She raised her arms slowly, like she was calling something. A second later, soft buzzing sound filled the air. It came from above. Mia looked up, but saw nothing in the sky. When she turned back, Soul was smiling. "I was just saying goodnight," she whispered. The next morning, Mia checked the field. She found a perfect circle in the corn, like something large had landed and lifted. "Off dot," she told Jack. He laughed. "Aliens making crop circles. That's what you think this is." He patted her head like she was a child. "Mia, stop worrying. You should try bonding with them." Mia frowned. "Bonding? They said you're special," Jack added. "They like you. That's good, right?" That evening, Mia sat with Elira on the porch. The sky was pink. Wind moved softly through the trees. Elira looked calm. To calm. Mia asked, "Why are you really here?" Lyra looked at her with shining eyes. "We ran from a broken world," she said. "We came here for safety. You have a ship." "No," Elira said. "Not anymore." "Then how will you go home?" Lyra looked at the stars. "We won't." A moment of silence passed between them. Then Elira said something strange. "Your people are so full of feeling. Love, trust, fear. We don't have those things, but we like them." Mia felt cold. The words sounded honest, but not safe. That night, Mia checked the barn again. She wanted to know what they were doing at night. She hid behind a stack of hay at exactly 3:03 a.m. They stood again in a triangle. This time, they weren't whispering. They were humming soft and deep. The sound made Mia's teeth hurt. Symbols appeared again in the air. Their eyes glowed, Suddenly, Soul turned sharply and looked straight at Mia. Even in the dark, she smiled. Okay. Mia's watching us, she said, like it was a game. The other two turned slowly. Smiling too, Mia ran. The next morning, they acted like nothing happened. Soul gave her a flower. Vina baked her favorite cookies. Alira told her, "You are part of our bond now." Mia said nothing, but deep inside, a voice whispered, "You let them in. Now they're inside more than your home. They're inside everyone." It started with the mirrors. Mia noticed it first. Whenever she walked past the bathroom mirror, something felt off. Her reflection was slow, like it blinked a second too late. One night, she stood still in front of the mirror and stared. She didn't move at all, but her reflection smiled. Mia gasped and stepped back. The reflection returned to normal. She didn't tell anyone, because now, even her own mind felt like it wasn't fully hers. Outside, the town had changed. People were too happy. Mr. Dalton, the grumpy butcher, now gave free meat with a big smile. The mailman whistled and handed out letters he hadn't read, but somehow knew what was inside. The local pastor closed his church, saying, "We have new guests now. Better ones." Mia walked through the town square and saw a little girl drawing with chalk. The picture on the sidewalk showed the three sisters, standing above the town. Everyone below them had smiles on their faces and wires coming out of their heads. Mia asked, "Who are they?" The girl smiled, not looking up. "They make us better." Back at home, Mia tried to talk to her father. "Dad, something is wrong. Don't you feel it?" But Jack just smiled, washing dishes like a robot. "The girls have helped us. We're lucky. Why complain?" "They're in people's heads," Mia whispered. "I think they're controlling them." Jack turned slowly. His voice dropped to a whisper. And maybe that's not a bad thing. That night, Mia couldn't sleep again. She opened her notebook and started writing everything she had noticed. Animals scared people, smiling, too much glitches in Mira's dreams. She didn't remember she was mid-sentence when she heard footsteps outside her window. She peeked through the curtain. Alira was standing in the garden, in the rain, not moving, just staring at the house. Mia closed the curtain slowly. The next day, Mia searched the barn again. She lifted hay bales and checked the ground. Then her foot hit something hard. She dug through the dirt and found a metal door, hidden, cold to the touch, with effort. She pulled it open. A ladder led down into darkness. She climbed down, holding her breath at the bottom. She found a small room glowing with blue light. Alien symbols floated in the air, and in the center was a machine. It had 3 tubes filled with liquid light, pulsing gently. On a screen, a message blinked in English. Phase 2, preparation. Emotional bond complete next. Mia backed away slowly, heart pounding. Then she heard the voice, not out loud, inside her mind. "You weren't supposed to see this, Mia." She turned around. Vina was standing at the top of the ladder, smiling. Mia ran past her, out of the barn, across the field. She didn't stop until she reached the old radio tower outside town. No one used it anymore. But Mia had a plan. She found the controls and tried to power it on. The lights flickered. She pressed a button and spoke into the mic. "This is Mia Moore. Fair Hill is not safe. They are not human. Please, if anyone hears this." She stopped. A soft voice came through the speaker. "Mia, why are you afraid?" It wasn't her own voice. It was Saul's. Back at home, the sisters acted as if nothing happened. Vina baked bread. Alira tended to the plants. Soul played with paper dolls. But Mia stayed quiet. She sat in her room, watching, listening. because now she knew the truth. They didn't come for help. They came to study love, to mimic care, to build trust, and when trust was full, they would begin the hive test. Mia woke up crying. She didn't know why. There was no nightmare she could remember. No sound that had woken her. Only a feeling. Like something had been pulled out of her chest while she slept. When she sat up, she saw it, a perfect flower white. Glowing was placed gently on her pillow. She didn't put it there, and no one else should have. Been in the room, she touched it. It was warm. The petals moved, like they were breathing. At breakfast, no one spoke of it. Her dad ate quietly. Vina served food, like always. Elira hummed a soft, strange tune. Sol just stared at Mia. Not angry, not happy. Just watching, like Mia was changing, and they were waiting for it. Later that day, Mia walked through town again. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. No cars honked, no babies cried. No one yelled. People smiled at each other like actors on a stage. A boy, she didn't. No came up to her and said, "They picked you. You're the anchor." Mia blinked. What? But he was already walking away. She turned to look at a glass window, and for a second, she saw her reflection flickered to glowing eyes, not hers, staring back. That evening, she found her dad sitting on the porch, staring at the sky. "Dad?" she asked. He turned to her slowly. "You feel it now, don't you?" Mia sat beside him. "What do you mean?" He looked at her with soft, empty eyes. "The bond. They don't force it, they share it. Once you open your heart, it connects." Placed a hand over his chest. "It feels warm, doesn't it?" "Like love, without fear." Mia said nothing. Inside, something was pulling at her. A soft voice, a calm feeling, like floating. She stood up quickly. "I need some air." She ran to the barn. She didn't know why. Her feet just moved. Inside, the sisters were waiting for her. Not surprised, not angry, just waiting. "Why me?" Mia asked. Elira stepped forward. "Because you still question," she said. "You feel more than the others. You resist. That makes your bond stronger." Vina added, "You don't trust us. And still, your heart listens." Sol giggled. "You're perfect." Mia looked around. The barn walls were glowing now. Soft waves of energy moved through them. Symbols floated through the air like fireflies. She felt dizzy. "Are you taking over my mind?" "No," Elira said gently. "We are joining it. The bond is two ways. You feel us, and we feel you." Vina walked forward, holding out her hand. "Let us show you." Mia shook her head. "No, I won't become like the others." Sol stepped closer. Her voice was almost a whisper. "You already are." Mia ran again, but this time, the air felt thick like the world around her didn't want her to leave. She reached the edge of the cornfield, then stopped, because standing there, between the rows of corn, were dozens of people from town, silent, smiling, waiting. Mia turned to run back, but her legs felt weak, and then she saw herself standing in the field, but it wasn't her. It was a copy, a version of her, smiling like the rest. She dropped to her knees. Inside her head, voices whispered gently, "Don't be afraid. We'll never hurt you. Let us in fully. We love you, Mia." Tears ran down her face. The warmth was real. The love felt real. And that was the most dangerous part. Because maybe it was as the sky turned black and the stars blinked above. The bond deepened, and somewhere, far above Earth, something huge woke up, watching, waiting, listening to Mia's heartbeat. Somewhere inside Mia's closet, a voice was breathing, not speaking, not calling, just breathing slow, calm, patient, and every night it sounded closer. But every morning, the closet was empty. Mia stopped sleeping. She sat on her bed with the light on, holding a kitchen knife. She didn't know what it would do. She just felt safer with it. And still, the bond kept growing. She would feel the sisters when they were far away, hear them whisper without sound. Sometimes, she felt what they felt: warmth, hunger, curiosity, something cold and ancient, and sometimes she felt them feel her fear, her memories, her love for her dad, her anger. They didn't block her. Emotions, they collected them. One afternoon, Mia returned to the hidden chamber below the barn. The glowing machine was still there. But it had changed. Now there were 7 tubes glowing, 3 for the sisters. 1 for her father, 1 for the postman, 1 for the little girl in the town square, and 1 labeled Mia More Status, merging. She stared at it. Frozen, then she saw a new screen flash on. Bond Stage 3, sync complete. Emotion map full. Preparing for wake protocol. She scrolled down with shaking fingers. A small paragraph in perfect English. Human emotions, most powerful source of energy. Trust is the key. Love is the lock. Once merged, the gate opens and the listener comes. Mia backed away. Her hands trembled. Her breath became fast. She understood now. They didn't come to take over the world. They came to use it as a door. And they needed humans, not for war, but for feeling. Every smile, every tear, every laugh, it was fuel. And Mia was the strongest connection. She was the anchor. She ran into town. She tried to tell people, they're not guests. They're feeding. They're bringing something here. But no one listened. Everyone just smiled. One old man whispered to her, "Let it come, girl. It loves us already." She pushed past him and ran to the church. It was empty now. No prayers. No people, only symbols on the walls. Glowing softly, at the center of the altar was a drawing. Burned into wood, it showed a massive creature. Long arms, no face, endless sighs floating over the earth. Underneath it, the words, "The listener will awaken once love is complete." That night, Mia confronted the sisters in the barn. "I know," she said, her voice cracked. "I know what you are." The sisters didn't deny it. Elira stepped forward. Her eyes were glowing like fireflies in the dark. "We came to bond," she said, "and you accepted. You let us in. You tricked us." Mia whispered. Vina shook her head. "No. We offered warmth. You gave it freely." Soul smiled sadly. "Even now, you care. That's why you are the gate." Mia held up the knife. "I'll stop you." Elira didn't flinch. "You'll try," she said, "but you won't. Because, deep inside, a part of you loves us too." And that was the truth. Mia knew it. Later that night, she stood in her room, watching the stars, and slowly, one of the stars moved. Bigger, closer. It wasn't a star, it was the ship, or maybe not a ship. Maybe the listener itself, coming through the bond, coming through her. Asterisk at exactly 4:44 a.m., every radio in town turned on by itself. No music. No news, just a soft voice whispering one sentence over and over. "She is almost ready." Mia didn't hear it at first. She was in the field, barefoot. Eyes closed, hands trembling. Her body stood still. But her mind was somewhere else. She saw places that weren't Earth. She felt emotions that weren't hers. She saw stars bleeding. She saw oceans made of memory. She saw something floating between galaxies with no mouth, but with a voice that never stopped listening. And then she opened her eyes. The field was empty, but inside her mind, someone else had entered the room. Mia. Ran. Not home, not to the barn. She ran to the old relay station near the hills. No one used it anymore except the weather team. She kicked open the rusted door, climbed the stairs, and turned on the broken transmitter. She had fixed it once before. This time, it had to work. The red light blinked. She held the mic. This is Mia Moore from Fairhill. If you hear this, stay away. They're not human. They're not angels. They're not peaceful. They're building something through us. And I think, her voice cracked, I think they're inside me now. The light turned green. Someone was listening, but she wasn't alone. Behind her, the door creaked open. Soul stood there, barefoot, dress glowing faintly. She didn't speak, she just walked up to Mia and hugged her. Mia froze. Soul whispered softly, "You're scared." "It's okay. We were scared too. Once." Mia pulled away. "I'm not like you." Soul tilted her head. "You will be, soon." Outside, the sky shifted. The clouds turned into perfect spirals. The stars above seemed to rearrange, and then a hum began. It came from deep in the ground and high in the sky at the same time. Mia clutched her head. It wasn't sound, it was emotion, billions of tiny feelings. Woven together, joy, sadness, pain, love, all humming like a living engine. The bond was now global, and at the center of it was her. She returned home to find her father sitting at the table. He looked tired, older. "I tried to fight it," he whispered. "I tried to keep you safe." Tears rolled down his cheeks. "But they were already inside me, and now I can't tell what's mine anymore." Mia hugged him tightly. "I'm going to end this." He looked at her, and for a second, just one, his real eyes looked back. Then hurry. Back in the barn, the machine had changed. It was no longer floating. It was alive. Veins of light ran across the walls. The floor pulsed like a heartbeat at the center. A shape was growing tall, thin, silent. Its head tilted as if listening to the whole world at once. Mia stepped forward. Elira, Vina, and Soul stood around her. "You can stop this," Mia said. "You can shut it down." Elira smiled softly. "We can't," she said. "Only you can. You are the final bridge," Vina added. "If you close the bond now, many will suffer. Emotion is shared. Cutting it causes pain," Soul whispered. "But if you open it fully, you will never be alone again." Mia felt it inside her chest. Something warm and endless. It felt like being loved by the whole universe. It also felt like drowning. She stepped toward the core of the machine. Ah! Panel opened. 2 buttons appeared. One red, disconnect, one white. Complete Minarjis stood still. The sisters didn't speak. They only watched, waiting, loving, listening, and in her mind. A final question echoed, not in words, but in feeling. Do you want to be free, or do you want to be held forever? For the first time in her life, Mia could hear every heartbeat on earth. Not as sound, not as music, but as feeling. A wave of emotion crashed through her babies. Crying, mothers singing, lovers kissing, soldiers dying. A girl laughing at a joke she would never hear again. It was beautiful. And it was terrifying. And all of it flowed through her. She stood in the glowing barn, her hand trembling above the 2 buttons. Red, disconnect. White merged behind her. The alien sisters waited. Gentle, hopeful. Not monsters, not angels. Just messengers of something older than time, something that had been listening, waiting, loving in silence. Suddenly, she saw herself from above. A young girl, scared and alone, standing between a broken world and an eternal voice. "This is your moment, Mia," said Elira softly. "You choose the future. Push red." said Soul, and the pain returns. The loneliness. The fighting. Push White, Vina whispered, and we'll be together. One heart, one voice. No fear. But then, a new voice entered Mia's mind, small, human. Her father. You're more than your fear. You're more than your love. You're not a doorway, Mia. You're a person. Choose what you feel, not what they feed. Mia opened her eyes. The world felt still. Time stopped. She looked at both buttons again. Then she took a deep breath and pressed neither instead. She closed her eyes and whispered, I choose. Me. The machine stuttered. Lights blinked. The heartbeat slowed. The walls cracked. A high-pitched hum filled the barn. The alien sisters gasped. No, Elira whispered. You broke the bond. Mia opened her eyes, now glowing with her own light. I didn't break it, she said. I made it mine. Outside, the clouds darkened. The stars spun wildly. And for the first time, the listener spoke. A single word, not in any language, but Mia understood it. Goodbye, Dea. Just like that, it was gone. The connection faded. The emotions silenced. Mia fell to her knees. When she woke, it was morning. The barn was cold and quiet. The machine was dust. The alien sisters were gone. So was their ship. The town? Back to normal? People didn't remember. Or maybe they chose not to. Only Mia remembered everything. Weeks passed, spring came, flowers bloomed, real ones, at glowing. Mia sat on the porch, sipping tea. Her father walked out and sat beside her. You okay? He asked. She nodded. Yeah. Then she smiled. A real human smile. One that belonged to no one but her. Later that night, she looked up at the stars. They were quiet, but for a moment, just a moment, she felt someone still listening. Not controlling, not watching, just listening. And this time, she listened back.